Hey, very good day everybody, welcome to another video. I'm your personal funky sim pilot. My name is Arkady Gidzenko and I will be your captain for today's flight. And today's flight will take us from a very poor weather condition, Cleveland Hopkins International Airport in Cleveland, United States of America, to Chicago O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, also in the United States of America. We are using real-world time and real-world weather, and as you can see, the weather here at Cleveland Airport is quite poor. Looks like wet snow or something. We're using the PMDG Boeing 737-700 with the Delta Airlines livery. We'll be using GSX, and we got the Aerosoft simple traffic tool. I was thinking actually of also flying online on the WATSN network, but then I saw that one Cleveland no longer was live. I figured, you know what, let's just have some fun here, and let's actually not hop onto the flight deck, but let's pull up the external views like this, and you can see the weather conditions. They're quite poor, so there's actually ice build-up everywhere. I have no clue what we are going to be doing about this. Obviously there is some anti-icing on the board, but I did see that the GSX may have some anti-icing procedures, but then later on I could not see them anymore, so we could have a look at that. But there is quite a lot of ice buildup along the leading edge here of the left engine. We can also see some here on the leading edge of the tail, and the tail wings. It's the same story. It's all covered in snow. Oh, this one actually looks funny. Look, that is so funny. Never look at that. Okay, we didn't see that. Yeah, so and even when you if you now actually jump onto the flight deck, you will also see the windows are totally frozen over. So quite curious what the weather conditions, the weather report actually is going to say. So let's request the flight plan, and let's check now the departure weather here at Cleveland Airport, 280 knots. I think light snow or wet snow, minus snow, I don't know. Minus 0.3 degrees Celsius. There's a bunch of codes in here that I do not, I'm not familiar with. But yeah, it's, as you can see, quite poor weather conditions. Alright, so what will we do first before we load up GSX? Maybe first get the aircraft some power. So I'm gonna go to ground operations and then request ground power. That will connect the external power unit. I think it is sort of hidden there because of the jetway there. It's a bit funny. Okay, so battery's on. Shit, I keep messing that up, man. Hopefully they will just align normally. Turn on some lights here. We got something to work with, and the ground power. Local lights, anti-collision lights, they can come on for now. So here we are. Aircraft is booting up, if you will. The IRS are aligning. Now how do we get this sucker warm? So let's now open up GSX. I just did a completely fresh restall of GSX. And so earlier I did see something with de-icing, but I do not see it here. Additional services maybe. Let's maybe first just do request boarding.
Boarding requested. Do you want to board crew? Passengers boarding started.
Oh, it's opening the wrong door there. Yeah, it was located quite funny here, so let's quickly fix that. I believe there should be door management. Close that one and let's open the entry door on the right there. But I'm guessing it already said we won't be seeing any passengers. Nonetheless, let's have a look anyway. Would be nice to be surprised. But no surprises. I thought I actually opened that door. But it cannot open. Let's just forget it, it's alright. So see if there's additional services available, like de-icing. I've never done that and I've no clue how it goes in real life. I believe there's just a couple of guys hosing the airplane off with some antifreeze or something. Request de-ice.
The icing vehicles are coming now.
The icing vehicles are coming now. That's pretty cool. Let's also get the catering trucks here as well. So it's going to be interesting. Let's have an external look at this. See what that looks like in the simulator. Well, the baggage is being loaded up, and we should be expecting the anti-ice or the de-icing. Keep saying anti-ice, the de-icing vehicles. Not as of yet, nothing present. So yeah, so if this is today's weather and you're the pilot having to do the go-around, having to go outside, well, this is the big surprise for you. Obviously, we will not really do a go-around. I have no clue what things to look for. Besides, probably everything's going to be okay since it's a simulator. There's the icing vehicles. So let's pan on over to those friendly people.
Confirm aircraft is ready for treatment.
This is probably not the best time to do it, right? So let's just wait for this for a little bit. What is it? Select concentration. Looks like it just.
Treatment now and observe fluid type 1, concentration at 75%. We'll call you back when ready.
Obviously, they're probably not going to combine these two operations, right? I mean, but yeah, maybe a little bit too enthusiastic here. Oh wow, look at that, man. That is pretty cool. Now I cannot wait to see on this flight deck to actually see our windows defrost. Thank you, Ben.
De-icing and anti-icing completed. Anti-icing coded. Fluid type 1. Concentration at 75%. I'm disconnecting. Good day.
Alright. Well, thank you very much. Alright, so I guess we're just going to have to turn on the window heat in a little bit. Alright, so let's pick things up then. Let's get some lighting going. And give ourselves the squawk code. Okay. Now the flag plan. We got it there, so let's enter it up here. We are on kilograms, that's good. FS actions, no. Go FNC. We are at Cleveland Airport. And what was the gate again? 94? Let's just check here on GSX, I believe it shows you. Gate 94. Well, good. See if that's going to work. Oh, not in database. Then we go back to our trusted Navigraph chart. And there it appears that we are standing. Looks like our location is not really there. We're actually between two. A3A, A3B, A3C. Shall we just give that a shot? Is that an A3C? No. If I was looking correct, was it? Yeah. And let's go for A3A. And that's also not in the database. Then let's open up the charts. On course Alpha. Okay, so we got that. And we are right. Okay, well, let's have a look. Okay, CLE. Boarding has been completed.
Catering vehicles are on their way.
So So this looks like we might be A3. No, that is not in the database. Alright, then we give up. A3, no clue, man. They should have coordinates, but we're not going to be doing all that. So that's all good. So we just copy this and put it there. Alright, route. We're going to request the flight plan from SimReef. And that will load in. We set the payload, we can set the fuel, and we select the route. So we got 5.5 kilograms, so let's have a look at the LFP. Cost index 8, cruising altitude 380, and the wind will be 305 at 6-9er. And our block fuel will be 5.6 and final reserves 2.3. We'll be departing runway 24 left via the Gatwick P4 departure for the WATSN 4 arrival on runway 27 center. Let's check the wind to 27 and 24. Oh, did not have to close it out. So departure wind 280. I guess that makes sense, and arrival 280. I guess that all seems to make sense there. All right. Let's bring up the flight plan. 24 left, Gatwick for DAIFE, then direct to WATSN 4 for 27 center. All right. So let's load it in. The catering vehicles have arrived as well. They have beautifully merged there with the jetway. Now, since we do not... Oh, reworking. We don't need the jetway anymore anyway, so let's quickly get rid of it. So the jetway can be released. That's the sound of the jetway releasing. Now it looks a little bit more normal. Alright, so let's carry on. We activate the route and we execute. And before we go to performance initialization, let's go to the departure arrival page. So for the departure, we choose runway 24 left. I do need to reconfirm here. That was the 24 left via the Gidzenko 4. So runway 24 left and Gidzenko 4 and execute. Go back to Windex and then we are arriving at ILS 7 center, the WATSN 4. So ILS 27 center, and then we got the WATSN 4. And we execute, and that is in there as well. So now we should have a fairly decent looking flight plan. So Kenway, Ale, Berlin, Gidzenko. And then after Gidzenko, it looks like there's nothing, so let's have a look at that. And then it should take you to DAIFE. So if we zoom out on that one, what will that look like? That's actually a pretty big gap. So let's close that. WATSN, Hoppo, Nikita, zoom in. Runway 27 center, let's quickly have a look at the chart. Where is ILS 27 center? Pin this one here, and let's open it up as well. So glide slope will start 2,200 feet, and the ILS is called IUYJ. The glide slope starts 6.7 nautical miles from IUYJ. So 6.7 and 273. So that would be 093 for the reciprocal at 6.7. So 093 degrees and 6.7 nautical miles. And maybe we can do a second ring as well, 093 at 15 nautical miles. So this should give us two range rings on the navigation display. The inner ring here, the dotted line, is where the glide slope will start. And the outer ring is simply 50 nautical miles, just to give us a little bit more situational awareness, as I always like to call it. But it helps approaching this in your mind, like such approaches in your mind, or any approach in your mind. It helps with approaching it in a sort of, I'm looking for the word, intuitive manner, a little bit more, you know, because you'll actually see elements moving left of you and right of you, and you can see when you're turning that where you want to go is all of a sudden no longer lined up and all that thing. So that's sort of like to feed into your lizard brain or your mammalian brain, maybe, you know. Anyway, looks like we got the flight plan. So we go back to the to setting up. So the performance initialization. So the zero fuel weight, we can get it from here. The block fuel was 5.6, and the reserves was 2.3. I'm not really sure. Was it 2.3? Yeah, 2.3 will be okay. 2.3 for the final reserves. The cost index was not very much, it was 8, unless that means a shit ton. Cruising at flight level 380, and then the wind was I believe 305 at 069. Let's double check. Cost index height 305069, and then cruising at 380. Alright, so that data is all correct, so we can go ahead and execute. Now for the N1 limit, we will turn to the calculator, performance tool, departing out of 24 left, runway condition, I would call this dry snow slush. It's interesting terms. Let's call it slush maybe. Compact snow or dry snow. Wet ice. Standing water. I'm thinking slush. Alright. Did we select it? Yes, it is selected. So calculate. Atmospheric not available. Takeoff 1. Trim 5.59er. 89.1. So takeoff 1 basically. 89.9. There it says 89.3. Can we select 03? Actually, I think we tried this before. I'm not sure. It's invalid. Alright, forget it. Takeoff. Flap 1. And the runway length. 9er. So this gives us V-speeds V1 of 128, rotate 130, and V2 137. Those are the same speeds that we have in the calculator as well. Right, so this bit has been set up. Looks like actually, well, there's definitely still ice on the windows. I'm not sure if there's what the procedures are. Let's go ahead and set this to 380 now. Not really sure what are the procedures, you know, in for starting up an aircraft like this, you know, when you enter the airplane and it's like totally frozen on you. Let's start up the APU. Yaw damper can come on. APU is powering up. Low oil pressure. But it's going. Alright, very good. Okay. Seatbelt sign can come on. We are on the emergency exit lights. So what we could maybe do, well, here we have the probe heat and the window heat, so that's probably already enough. Cruising level 380. And our current altitude is 700. Or was it around? It's 800. Okay, so the APU is done loading up, so let's turn on the APU bleed. And now with the window heating on, hopefully we will see the ice dissipate slowly but surely. There's definitely still some ice visible there. Alright, what else before we push back and start the engines? Let's arm the flight directors on both sides. The autothrust, LNAV and VNAV are engaged as well, or armed actually. And we put in 136, the V2 speed. 137. Okay, my bad. 137. So the ice is definitely gone. That's good. Let's have a look outside. Still looks really bad. The icing is gone from the leading edges of the wings. Let's just get the camera here for a bit. So there was a lot of icing here on the edge, and there was quite significant amount of build up here along the leading edge on the front as well. And it looks like our new de-icing paint is working. We're going back onto the flight deck. Let's open up GSX and see if there's anything we can do there. Everything's been completed. So probably just prepare for pushback and departure, I guess. So let's just go ahead and call them. You want request icing? Nope.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
Copy that. Will do.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Just stand by a little bit, please. Let's go to APU power and let's disconnect everything on the ground, including the wheel chokes and the ground power. Please set parking brakes immediately.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted. Locking gear.
Well, you can see the nose being lifted up. That's pretty cool. I've never seen it that apparent. Okay, so the dreaded question: where the hell do you want us to push you to? 2 for left. That is conveniently close. So, how does this work? I'd like to be pushed onto Juliet. Let's go nose to the left.
Release parking brakes, please.
No.
Release parking brakes, please.
Well, I'm a bit confused because it looks like the parking brake. Now it's set. So
It's commencing push.
Alright,
Due
well,
to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start.
Well, listen,
until
man.
push is completed and brakes are set.
it was already released. Okay, this is looking interesting. Extremely sharp turn here. So let's immediately stop this. And stop here and complete. So that's a new one. Never seen that before, but maybe it's something to do with GSX.
Please set parking brakes.
Yes, sir. Parking brake is set. Right, so we can start up the engines now. I keep thinking I'm missing something, forgetting something. Well, let's have a look. Engine number 2. It's coming. We add the fuel. Right, now we go for engine number 1. So you're basically watching your N2 percentage, and I believe around 20% can add the fuel. Let's go flap 1, and we set the speed brakes, the auto brakes, to reject the takeoff. And the aircraft is now asking us to verify our takeoff speeds. Right, so that's 2 running engines. Let's switch over to the main generators, turn off the APU, turn off the APU bleed, and quick spots. Let's turn on the pack, left and right. And let's confirm that we have a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
The nose coming down again. Ever so slightly, but look, you can definitely see that's pretty cool. Man, these are poor weather conditions for sure, eh?
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Okay, sir.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Well, thank you very much. So let's turn on the taxi lights and the runway turn-off lights. So after departure, something interesting, it says intercept. So I think that means we should normally get vectors. Let's... Hey man, yeah, very good, thank you. Alright, so let's have a look at that before we start rolling. Hey, come on man. So, PLN, intercept, basically we go direct to Kenway. So turn to the right. I'm hoping if we follow the flight directives it will get us there anyway. back to the map page and have her zoomed in a little bit like this. Right, man, so we're almost about to start rolling here. Basically we just go to the left, I guess. It's a little bit hard to see the yellow lines. And that was a weird pushback that we got there. So, parking brake released. Let's actually not release the parking brake yet. Set the trim for 5.56. I don't understand why it keeps doing that, man. Fucking out loud. Alright, well, that should be okay. Alright, parking brake released. Seems extremely slow. I'm not really sure I'm missing anything. How the hell do we drive out of here? We just cross the pond like this? You don't need a weather report to know that this is really bad weather, do you? Let's just get right onto the runway. Landing lights on. Position, strobe and steady. Here's our runway, 2 for left. And if everybody's good to go, do we have a tailwind now? Let's just stop for a second here. That looks like a crosswind, okay. Do a last weather check here before we take off. Niner 022, gusting 29. That's a lot, man. 290. Oh yeah, that makes sense, it's coming from the right. Alright. Well, good luck to us. Let's start the clock. We set the takeoff, well, we set actually 50%. The engine stabilize. And takeoff thrust.
Your speed's alive.
So I wonder about the weather at our destination. Is it going to be anything like this? Rotate. Alright, gear up. Right, to follow the flight director now. Nose down a little bit. Let's have a look outside. Well, I am definitely not going to wait turning on the anti-ice. And let's set the autopilot. So we're at CMD, so it is actually following the autopilot now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here on the navigational display. That's a bit too much. So the flaps are up. The auto brake can go to off. We can lock the gear. We totally forgot our flight crew or cabin crew there, so let's just put that on now. When we turn off lights and taxi lights, we can turn those off if the buttons will comply. Alright. Does not appear to be any icing build up yet. So we're holding at 6,000 feet for a little bit until we reach Enway. Should be below 6,000. And then we can go up to Ailey, 9,000 or above, and 14,000 or below, and so on until we reach our cruising altitude. See. So I figured to do a flight from the United States because it's daylight now. But there's not a lot to see. But in a little bit we will be above the clouds. We should have an entirely different world below us, with beautiful clean blue sky above, the bright shiny star, and beautiful white layers of clouds below us. We were already on TARA for the TCAS, so I think, if you ask me, everything's looking fine, so we're just basically standing by for climbing to 9,000 feet. That's going to happen right now. But that's the beautiful thing of the vertical navigation. The Boeing 737 is just doing it for us. That's pretty cool. We're 5 minutes into the flight. Hopefully we'll get some beautiful blue skies above us momentarily. But man, that was shitty weather there at Cleveland. I'm shitting you not, man. Really, really poor. So we had to use the de-icing service on the ground. which really helped because there was a lot of ice buildup on the windows and on the leading edge of the wings and the tail wings and the tail itself. There's a lot of buildup there. So glad we did that. Alright, so here we have pierced through the clouds. I think we can turn off the anti-ice, and this should also give us a little bit more power, which you can hear. Like that. So the flight crew can start attending, and I'm guessing, let's turn off the landing lights above 10,000 feet. And let's set it. That's just free, why not? So let's see how much longer until the descent. 2020 Zulu. It's in about 25 minutes from now. We will start our descent. So again, this is quite a short flight. But look at the difference, man. If you see what we just took off out of, it was dark, it was grey, it was wet, it was cold, it was sticky and everything. And then you climb up and you're like, where is all this shit happening, man? There's nothing going on. So really curious to see what the weather will be at Chicago, because it's only like, I don't know, like 45-minute flight or something. So there's a very good chance the weather conditions will be similar, in which case it will be a very wet runway, very cold, and super windy. We had gusting of 29 knots crosswind on takeoff. It did not really impact the takeoff too much, actually, fortunately. But it's always interesting when landing in those conditions as well. I'm really curious to see if that's going to happen, yes or no. But we'll find out momentarily. For now we're standing by to reach our cruising altitude, and then we will start preparing for the descent into Chicago International Airport. One really interesting thing with GSX that we were using, this one, was that we could use the de-icing service at the gates. So these two trucks came up, and they just had these hoses, and they were just hosing the aircraft down with some nice antifreeze or whatever. And yeah, that really worked, and it's cool for the immersion, you know. Little things make it really nice. And then it's always amazing to see when you go above the clouds. Really, it's always so cool. Alright, so what's going on here? We're on our way to Gidzenko. That is 12 miles out. Cruising will be 380, so we still got a little ways to go till we reach our cruising altitude. We're now 10 minutes into the flight, and I think for the rest, clean everything up. So we're good for our descent and approach briefing. and the preparations, and we'll enter all the landing data, VLF speeds, decision altitudes, all those things. We keep on monitoring the weather at Chicago as well. Sometimes it may, the weather reports may update every 30 minutes, sometimes it may take a little bit longer, sometimes like an hour. We're just going to have to take what we're getting. Alright, so we're passing transition altitude now. So let's go to standard barometric pressure. And let's see what we can expect to find at Chicago. Well, let's first check the weather then for the arrival airport. It was issued 1851 Zulu. Okay, so that hardly updates. 300 60 knots, gusting 23 knots. I don't believe it's snowing. It is -4, so it's really cold. Dew point -12. Altimeter 3022. But maybe put that in. Start by putting that in 3022. So it's always a bit of a challenge to see. You're looking here to turn the wheel, but then those little small white letters there, you have to see those change. So it's always interesting to find the correct setup in the simulator, and you waste a lot of time with it. So 3022 inch, that's pre-dialed, so we're still actually on standard, which is there in green, but we did pre-dial 3022. That's going to be what we'll work with in case the weather does not update. So 30 60 knots, 23 knots, broken 3500. I guess actually looks pretty okay. Now let's see, 24,000 feet for flight level 240. Let's bring up the charts for the arrival. So we will be landing at 27 center. So we have the chart right here. Let's make it a big full screen. The glide slope will start at 2,200 feet. We have set a fix ring at 6.7 nautical miles, also one at 50 nautical miles from the start of the, but actually from the ILS. Let's see for the decision altitude. Category 3 ILS, RVR7. I'm guessing again 100 for the radio altitude would be okay. So I'm just going to enter that here. You have these buttons here. One says radio, it says minimums. One is radio altitude, one is barometric altitude. So you select radio first, and then when you dial it, you will see here in the corner there of the primary flight display, you will see the values appear and start to change. So we're putting that on 100 feet. And that is the radio altimeter of the aircraft looking straight down onto the surface and then pinging back the signal and determining how high am I above the surface. That's all that's doing. So we got that set. Now the ILS frequency, we will find it up here. Let's maybe zoom out a little bit so that you get the idea of the total chart, right? So you have the airport designator here, you have the designator for the ILS. In this case it's, or for the actual approach, so runway 27 center, category 2 and 3, that will be our approach that we will fly. So the ILS frequency is 111.9er, and the final approach course will be 273. So 119er, 111.9er. We enter that in the nav1 radio box. 111.9er. There you go. So that's been entered. We can also enter the course, which was 273. And this is important because the aircraft will, basically you can see it here in the corner of the PFD. 111, that's 19er, course 273. So that will be our final approach course. And you can also actually see this when we go to the plan page and we skip through the waypoints. We have to go to legs here. You can also see, here we are. Uh, 273, that's basically the, that's our final approach course. Alright, let's not get too distracted here. Alright, so top of climb is coming up in like 1 minute or so. And then we'll cruise for about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will start descending below. So really curious to see. There's a lot of energy up here when you look out the window. There's a lot of light, but when you go down, man, it was horrible. If you're tuning in later, you can rewind the video, or you can rewind it later to have a look. It was snowy, dark, and grey. It wasn't pretty, but it was cool. We had the windows were frozen up, and we had ice build up on the leading edges of the aircraft and everything, which we finally got to the ice before the taxiing. Alright, so what else are we going to do? We have entered the approach course, and we have entered the ILS frequency. We know that the glide slope will start at 2200, so but the altitude that I will put in the box is 2200, but not until we first reach our cruising altitude and the cruising stage, basically, because the aircraft is now not in cruising stage but in climbing stage. So yeah, so there's that. What else we need? We have the barometric pressure, 3022 inch, and we will also require the runway elevation. Transition altitude is 18,000, that's normal in the United States. Airport elevation 680, touchdown zone is 653. Let's put it on 650. There you go. Alright, so we're 18 minutes into the flight. We're almost at our cruising altitude. I think basically we already have entered everything we need. So we have the you have it actually here as well. So we have the localizer 111.9er, final approach course 273. And then the glide slope will start at 2,200 feet, category 3. So for the minimums, they showed you below, it was 7 RVR. And we have radio altitude 108. And we have the airport elevation as well. And I think, let's see, Sermi, Kriko, Nichols. So we are, wait, let's go to the legs page properly. So we're on our way to DAIFE. 80. Pick it up, price, hull style, dweeb, CNAC, and then vector. So from CNAC, I'm interested to see if that on here. That might be on the arrival chart, maybe. Let's have a look at our plan page here. So hulls, so let's go through it again. Hulls, dweeb, then CNAC, and then you should expect vectors. So let's see, jumbo, which is basically a straight line. So what I will try to do is to see if we can remove vector altogether. So del vector. Let's invalid delete, okay. Then what we can try, let's clear this out. We can try maybe to put jumbo on vector. Sort of override it. That appears to be working. And that takes out the vectors entirely, so that's good. So I got that as well. So let's go back to the climbing, actually let's go to the descent page. almost at cruising altitude, and you can see it's only 75 nautical miles until we are already beginning our descent. We'll go back to the map view here. That's another 1,000 miles to go now. 1,000 feet. Apologies. So yeah, man, again, above the clouds everything looks silver lining. If you look at the like a sort of a quick reference checklist for descent, you'll have to set the pressurization, which we did, to 650. I'm not really sure what landing alt means, but we have the QNH at least, but that's actually the altimeters, I think. Recall, well, we can check that in a bit. Auto brake will be on 1. Unless maybe we should put it on 2 because it might be a wet runway. Landing data, VREF and minimums, we have entered those. We have VREF speed. Actually, we did not enter the VREF speed. Let's do that as well. We go to the init ref page, and it's now showing you approach ref. And we will select, I will select basically the 40-degree flap setting, which is full flaps. Stand by 1 second. Yeah, full flaps. So we select and we enter there. So that's 130 plus 5 additional 5 knots for wind correction will be 135 knots. Being fully configured, meaning gear down and flaps fully down at 40 degrees. So we have our VREF approach speed. There we go. Flaps 40, 130. And then the 135, you will not see that here, but you will see it on the legs page. If you go to the page where the runway is, you can actually see 135 and also a Driscoll 135. So the aircraft does definitely take that into consideration. It's just that it's an additional, you know, it's like you're adding up some knots for wind. Alright, so let's go actually to the descent page. So 57 nautical miles. We are now at cruise. So flight level 380. So the first thing that I'm going to do now, since we are all alone, is just put the glide slope altitude of 2,200, and then leave the step descent to the vertical navigation of the aircraft. So 2,200 feet. We got that in the box. So that's just sitting there chilling, waiting until the top of descent is upon us, and it will just take us down. But it will not take us straight down. It will simply keep on following the altitude restrictions that you can see in the flight plan. So to do basically a step descent, that's what that means. Alright, so let's have a look. Landing data, VREF. So we got the minimums in now. VREF. We got the VREF in now. We also have the minimums, which is 100 feet above the surface. That basically concludes the approach briefing. So let's get this out of the way. Have a look outside. I do like that little moon. Come on, go down a bit. Where the hell was it, man? Oh, there you go. Look. It's a nice little crescent moon going on. It's always cute. I always like to see the moon during daylight. As if it's saying, hey man, I'm here, man. So the wind was supposed to be 305 at 69. Oh, as you can see, that actually seems to be quite correct. That was good. So let's also get the wind forecast for the descent. We can do that through the FMC right here. So we just click the request button, and we'll start requesting the data. And then you can basically you can then at least downloading it. into some cache or whatever, and then from there you can upload it into the FMC, and that will take everything into consideration with regards to altitude and speed and everything. Oh, we're ready. Load. And we can execute. So the wind will definitely decrease once we get closer to the ground. 250, 98 knots, 150, 46, 6,000, 28 knots. But it was quite windy. It is still quite windy, probably. See if there's maybe a weather update. 1951 Zulu. Oh yeah, so that's an hourly update then. A wind out of 300, which is 30 degrees to our right. 16 knots, gusting 23. Visibility, I think this means 10 kilometers and some clouds, but I'm not really sure. Broken at 3,500, 4 degrees below 0 Celsius. 3022 has not changed, so we can leave that here in the box, 3022. So yeah, I'm curious, it's so interesting weather when you think about it. Like, you're flying here and there's nothing going on. You're descending and everything is happening at the same time. So 27 minutes into the flight, standing by for descent in about 35 nautical miles. 2021 Zulu, which is about 5 to 6 minutes. So this was actually the first time, I think, on the channel that we were using the de-icing services from GSX. Just before the stream, I uninstalled GSX and then completely reinstalled it again because something was a little bit funny. It appears to be working again. Yeah, so the PMDG 737-700, really cute, chubby little girl. Look at her. It is a lot shorter than the 737-800, and I keep on saying I would love to have the 737-600, but still, you know, it's like 35 euros, and I already bought this one. And this aircraft has been my go-to aircraft as of late, as you may have noticed. Basically been streaming almost exclusively with the PMDG 737-700. Alright, so preparation-wise, we basically have set everything up. We will keep on monitoring the weather, but it looks like the weather updates will only be hourly, so we will not have to get hog wild there. 22 nautical miles until the top of descent. Our fuel is 3.7, so that should be plenty. And we're expected to touch down at 2047 Zulu, which is in precisely 30 minutes from now. And we should be touching down at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. So yeah, we could keep on updating, but I'm thinking probably we get an update right after we touch down, because it looks like an hourly update, so we'll just going to have to wait and see what that's going to do. 30 minutes into the flight and 12 nautical miles until DAIFE, and then comes our top of descent right after that. So we did put in some handy, yeah, we changed the flight plan a little bit, but not too crazy. Just so it could help us line up the aircraft as successfully as possible. And you know, given the wind conditions, I don't know. I know it looks like there might just be some clouds at 3,500 and just some clouds here and there. So I don't think it's probably going to be too bad. It's probably not going to be as bad as the airport we left behind, Cleveland. At descent page, alright, 12 miles. We're standing by for a step descent to 2,200 feet, which is the beginning of the glide slope. We have entered the altitude in the box there. And basically the aircraft will do the rest from here. Since we are now going to descend, I will put the auto brake on 2, just to be safe, I guess. And we don't have to do anything else for now. We have the QNH, we have the VREF speeds, we have the ILS and the approach course, and we have our minimums. Basically from now, it's just monitoring, basically we're monitoring the energy, or managing the energy, so that we do not descend too fast or too slow. So we aim to be on perfect, handleable, manageable speed conditions when we reach the final approach. Right, so anything about to happen now? 4 miles. I think we're we're on our way to WATSN. Okay. And then later on, let's try and address the passengers as well via the PA system, the public address system. Alright, there you go, top of descent. And basically what I mean with we manage the descent rate, the energy. Just check here the vertical deviation, but let it not get too big. And you can also see it visually, if you will, here with the little triangle there. So we're a little bit below the descent profile, which has my preference over to be above it, because then you're going to go nose down, which is going to add more speed, which is going to make things harder for you to decelerate once you reach the final approach. So that's why it's important to try and keep the descent rate as smoothly as possible. So every now and then the aircraft may start whining at you and they may say, hey man, where's my drag? I want a drag, where's my drag? Well, and you will introduce a drag, and as we all know, a drag has a little stick. I'm just gonna leave it right there. Up next is Hoppo. And at Hoppo it needs to be at flight level 303. Just going to let it do its thing. We're just monitoring the descent rate basically. We will at some stage need to turn on the anti-ice. I believe we turned those off. They are off. Okay. We'll also need to strap in the passengers. 35 minutes into the flight. And so far everything looking a-okay. We have a total fuel of 3.6 thousand kilograms of fuel. We're still carrying. So there you go. Drag required. put a little stick up there. So, in case we are actually going to do a going out mission approach, climb to 1100 feet and then climbing a right, then climbing a right turn to 4000 feet on a heading of 290 and CGT, that's Chicago Heights VOR, radio 322 outbound to Ukune intercept. I'm not really sure what that means. Let's have a look. So this is like a holding pattern. Yeah, so basically they're sending you to a hold-up pattern. So we probably will need the Chicago Heights VOR for that as well. We can enter that. That is 114.2. So we enter that 114.2. Enter that in the nav 2 radio, which is this panel or this bit here. We enter that, and you should see the moment we start picking up the VOR, it will populate the information here. You will have a DME read out how far you are, and you will see the VOR designator, which is CGT. I believe it said Charlie Golf Tango, Chicago Heights. So missed approach. Climb 1100 and then to 290. You need the 322 outbound from Chicago Heights. And there you can see that the zoom in a little bit. I mean, this is complex stuff, and I'm not saying I'll be able to do this on the fly, you know. Sorry. So we will, in case we do a missed approach, so we climb to 1100 feet, we take a right turn, we keep on climbing to 4000 feet, the right turn is to 290 degrees, and then we join the outbound radio of Chicago Heights on a radial of 322 degrees, and that should take us directly to the Ukune holding point. And I believe there's actually a hold function in the FMC as well that you can use, but I'm not super experienced with this. I have maybe tried it once or twice, but it's fairly simple. But we're not going to dive into that at all right now. So let's go back to the descent page. Let's check our speed. I'm going to retract the speed brake there. See what that does. Our speed is decreased significantly. But yeah, that would be the missed approach. So we're hoping for good weather. We'll find out in a bit. Here's our extended runway center line. Zoom out. This should take us to the... No, it's not. So what is... Oh, that's the VOR, I think. Can we see? 273. That's coming from the Chicago Heights. Alright. Oh, it displays a... it displays a line in the exact same heading of the runway center line. It's pretty interesting. I did not know. So basically, we will just follow these waypoints onto Sanok, where we will take a left turn. Let's zoom in a little bit if we can. Yeah, basically you can see it already here. Onto Sanok, we'll take a left turn there, which basically already is bringing us right on the approach course. And from Sanok, if we check the legs page, so Sanok comes Jumbo, so that's actually quite, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. Alright. 25,000 feet. That's quite a lot of traffic in the sky. So we're not flying online tonight, we were yesterday. I actually wanted to do it, but then one of the airports quit. And I was like, okay, let's just chill and fly a nice, interesting little short flight. 41 minutes into the flight, crossing flight level 240. Aircraft is calling us a retard again. So let's have a look at the legs page. On our way to Hulls, 5.3 nautical miles. Speed 248, flight level 216. So it appears to be managing this all on its own perfectly well. So we're just here monitoring. But as you can see, things will start to pick up soon. So maybe now is not a very bad time to strap in the passengers, since we have started our descent. Let's also start up the APU. So let's address the passengers then, why don't we? Let's see if we can make a fool out of ourselves. Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We have turned on the fasten your seatbelt signs as we have started our descent into our destination, Chicago O'Hare International Airport. We are expected to arrive in about 17 or 16 minutes. The local temperature will be minus 4 degrees Celsius, so it will be quite a cold day with quite a lot of wind and gusting. But there will be some clouds, but mainly it should be open skies. On behalf of Delta Airlines, we and the entire crew would like to thank you for flying with us and see you sometime soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so we did that. And so it looks like we're still on the profile quite nicely. Let's go to the descent page. It's not really complaining, so that's good. 20,000 feet. So there's only a couple of waypoints left. Style, Dweeb, Zeenak. And then we still got to get through those clouds there. It's funny that you can go from style to dweeb. I don't know, just thought I'd point that out. Well, how are you doing, man? Well, I'm moving from style to dweeb, you know? I don't know. Apparently I'm not the one complaining. Which might bring you back to style. Could be a poor style choice nonetheless, but... Right, so we're on the descent page. We're a little bit above vertical deviations, 19 high, 12 high, but it's all within limits. 31641 knots. We're crossing Dweeb soon. We're passing the 18,000 feet, so we are now going to go to standard, from standard barometric pressure to local barometric pressure at 3022 inch. Let's do a final weather update. And there is none, so 3022 will be what we are going to be working with. We're 45 minutes into the flight. and all systems appear to be functioning properly. And this is the reason why earlier we put those range rings around the ILS, one at 50 nautical miles and then one at the start of the glide slope. It is because basically your lizard brain, or your mammalian brain, you know, when you're just sitting here, sure, you can look at the numbers. We have now headed 324, so if you go left, that number will decrease until it reaches about 273. Sure, we know that. But some other part of your brain, you know, that's also always working, will just simply detect something to the left. You know, our brain is set to is wired in a certain way. So this really helps out figuring out where you are without actually, you know, doing calculations and all that stuff. You know, so that's making it help you achieve some intuitive approach, if you will. So 15,000 feet. On the fuel. Basically, this will be quite a stretch, so we're going to have to wait with deceleration. You can see there is the decel point at around 15 nautical miles from the ILS. 6.7 nautical miles is where the glide slope starts. So by that time we do want to be fully configured. Flaps down all the way to 40 degrees, the landing gear down, and our speed at 135 knots. Yeah, so 130 plus 5 for the wind. There's a little buffer there. And all of a sudden we are very high above the profile, as you can see. So I'm going to add some drag. You can see it's helping. 161, 138, 12,000 feet. I'm retracting the speed brake. So we got some nice white fuzzy clouds ahead of us. So what do you think? Let's turn on the anti-ice. I love these little blue lights of security, man. So there's the clouds. So why were we all of a sudden that high on the approach? Might have been turbulence. That's my first guess. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a funky sim pilot, so, you know, you give me a bass guitar or a drum kit or a guitar or just my voice and I will make it funky for you. We're at 10,000 feet, so let's turn on the landing lights. We will leave the ground crew, the cabin crew, they're still preparing the aircraft, going to patch all the dirty diapers and whatever. 10,000 feet, QNH 3022, see if there's a weather update. No already Bob, so 300 at 60 knots, gusting 23. So we can expect wind coming from 30 degrees to our right. That should be okay. We're passing 10,000 feet now. We're going to the legs page. We're now on our way to Jumbo, where we should be at 4,000 feet or above. The CGT, actually, I can see it now here as well. Well, we saw the line earlier, but there you go. There's no DME on the ILS yet. We are basically, I mean, I guess we could are on the localizer. Not sure if we're supposed to be doing that. I'm just going to wait a little bit. We are not in a rush. At about 50 nautical miles or before, let's just arm it and see what happens. Alright, so 9,100 feet. Another thing with the go around, we climbed to 1100 and then to 4,000 for the right turn 290. So basically the moment we reach 2,200 and we are actually captured by the ILS and we're going down, at that moment we could change the altitude to 4,000 feet. A little bit low, but nothing shocking. We're now receiving DME from the ILS. We're 28 nautical miles out. Let's zoom in on the navigational display. With one click. So let's just arm the localizer and help ourselves a little bit. It is armed, as you can see in white, but it's not active yet. The aircraft is now descending to jumbo 4,000 feet. Let's arm the speed brakes. Let's have a quick look at the little landing checklist there. Approach, make sure the altimeters are set. We are using 3022. And then landing, engine start switch is on continued, speed brake is armed, landing gear is down, flaps and green light. So that should all be there. The engine mode selectors are both on continuous. And the speed brake is armed, you can see it right there, the little green light. Speed brake armed. Right, so we're about to hit the clouds now. Goodbye beautiful weather, and hello shit weather. But we'll see in a bit. Localizer still armed. We are not intercepted yet. So I really like this little range link, just to divide things in your brain, you know, like 50 nautical miles, and then, yeah. Alright, on our way to jumbo, 4,000 feet. We're still on the profile there. You see that we're also below the glide slope, which also appears to be good. There's the clouds. That's pretty cool, man. Right, what we're looking at, 4,800 feet, speed 237. We're now captured by the localizer. You can see it happening. Immediately, the roll of the aircraft starts to change. I think actually we have a visual on the runway. Although I'm not claiming to be very familiar in the area, but we do at least see some runways going on there.
Traffic.
Please just ignore the traffic, thank you. We're 2.3 miles from jumbo.
Traffic.
And we're almost at 4,000 feet. Let's do one last weather update.
Monitor vertical speed. Descend.
Oh man, the TCAS system.
Clear of conflict.
Thank you. At 4,000 feet, we're still going down. And go to set the flaps. arm the
Traffic.
approach.
Monitor vertical speed. Adjust vertical speed. Adjust.
Alright, so we're definitely getting closer now. 11 nautical miles. Cabin crew, take your seats for landing. Let's
2500.
strap them in, man. So the approach is armed. You can see the glide slope is there in the white. Flaps 10% or 10 degrees. Range 9.2 nautical miles. So we're still below the glide slope. So speed 160. So weather's looking okay. I'm thinking we should have been picked up by the let's drop the keel. We're not captured by the oh, it almost. I'm jumping the gun here. There you go, glide slope, single channel. If we can make the dual channel. I'm going back to break 1. Quickly see if there's a way to record this. There you go. I'm going to go for
1000.
135. So we're at 1000 feet. We're not fully configured. We will continue, however. Flaps full, speed 135. So that's us from the outside. Gear down, flaps fully down, and the speed brakes are armed. Okay, let's disengage the autopilot. A little bit low.
Approaching
Try to aim for the touchdown zone there.
minimums.
There's definitely some wind going on. But here we are.
50.
Idle.
30.
Flare.
20.
A little bit of rudder.
10.
Okay, so we're floating there for a little bit. find the center line. Reversers are out. So, welcome to Chicago. It's a lot better here, the weather, than it was at Cleveland Airport. Knots, engines to idle, reflect flaps and reflect the speed brake. So that's us. So let's get off there at the very end. The flight directors can come off now. So ground speed 22 knots, 23 knots. So we didn't use any toe brakes. This was just the auto brake of the aircraft itself. But we will be using toe brakes right now, because we will exit to the left here. Alright, so runway vacated. Let's turn off the landing lights. And the cabin crew can get up from their seats as well. Still not sure if that's the button though, but I've been using it for that purpose. So let's cross the runway here and then we take a left turn. So let's just settle down here somewhere. And then hopefully we can watch the replay. That would be nice. But you know, sometimes the replay thing confuses the flight sim and basically crash your aircraft. Because basically the flight sim detects something and it's like, oh no, this is not correct. Something with elevation or whatever. Or moving surfaces, so it's sort of detecting like an overspeed probably, you know. Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday I think I forgot to turn it on. I think the day before I turned it on but it crashed. So there's no lines here or anything, we're just going to stop here. And once again, welcome to Chicago Airport, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your flight. Thank you very much for checking. And if you want to stick around for the see what the replays are going to do, then feel free. We'll need to do a couple of things for that. Let's first of all stop the recording. That is off the screen. And then we set the we arm the speed brakes. And because I don't think the program does that for you, so it basically records your flight data, if you will. So the flaps are out, gear is down, and when we were landing we had landing lights on and the taxi and runway turn-off lights as well. I think that's the most important things. So Geronimo, let's see if this is going to work, yes or no. Let's just go replay around there. Oops, sort of seems to work, but we may go back a little further.
Hello, terrain.
What do you think? So around here? Okay. So let's resume replay.
Couldn't find valid airport data at this position. Services are not available.
Okay, that's GSX. Let's stop GSX now. There you go. So this should be a runway 27 enter. Let's see, oops, where's the touchdown zones around there? See if we can zoom in. And there we are. We're definitely grabbing a little bit, it looks like. And a bit of another. Oh yeah, we're floating a little bit, but there is touchdown. Oh, my apologies. Maybe I should change the camera settings a little bit. Yes, well let's do that again. Pause the replay. And we arm the ground spoilers again. Alright, let's go for this view. So apologies, I had to mute the microphone there. Swallowed something and you heard the rest. It wasn't pretty. Alright, so let's watch it from here. The ticking buttons is something in the cockpit. I'm not really sure what it is. Just not sure what to do. It's a little bit light. There's probably some button that I set and keeps on, I don't know. But I told you, it's confusing the game. That was pretty cool, seeing the other aircraft waiting for us to land. We still find ourselves somewhere at the other end of the runway. Just think even rotating, man. There we are. Anyway, thank you very much for checking. I could see that there were a couple of people watching, which is always very nice. Thank you very much for that. Don't be a stranger. Leave something in the comments, leave a like, or chat something next time. But yeah, thank you very much for checking. And I'm your personal Funky Sim pilot. Sometime soon. Bye-bye.